Hey guys, I'm Kimberly from Fat Quarter Shop, and today we thought we would do something just totally different, off the cuff, totally relaxed, totally fun. One of the things that you guys ask me the most is how do I get so much done? So I thought I would film myself over a couple of days and just, when I'm at home sewing and how I sew. And this is the first time I'm watching the video, so let's watch it together and I'll give you my commentary on what I think I'm doing in the video. So I started stitching on Thursday night. I had a ton of stuff to get done, and here it looks like I am sewing the Holt red blocks and for her red sampler. And so I have usually cut and then sit down. I'm doing one block at a time on this one. I think this one had a ton of pieces, and so I was taking it one block at a time. And I think I was listening to Netflix on this one. I can't remember what I was listening to, but I usually listen to true crime. I do that because my sewing machine gets so loud that if I turn the TV on, sometimes I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm just kind of power sewing using my friction pen. I wish, don't you, when you watch this video, don't you wish you could sew this fast in real life? Because if you could, I could really get some stuff done. Because that's so funny that I'm watching myself so fast, because that is how I wish I could sew, because then I could really get more done. And this one I'm using my little clapper and kind of chain piecing. And just trying to be as efficient as possible. So I've got one block done, and then I'm just going to trim the edge of the block just to kind of get, and then kind of what I do there is I changed my book on my little book stand so that I could go to my next block. And it looks like I'm working on something I'm working on the next block. So this one is the hourglass block, and I did the piecing just a little bit different than her instructions, and so I think I made one little unit right there to make sure it worked before I cut all of them. And then when I was texting, I was probably texting Lori. Oh, and then that's Peyton that just came in. He usually is in my room much more, but because I was filming, he was kind of like camera shy. So that first time he came in, he was just checking to make sure that he didn't need to change the batteries. So yeah, so I made that first unit just to make sure it worked. And then that little basket right there, that's where I have like all of my starched fabric. And just pull from my basket. I am getting pretty low on the red fabric, so I'm not sure how I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna have to buy some more fabrics. But yeah, you can see I'm just kind of chain piecing, trying to be as efficient as possible. And when I stood up there, it's because one of the fabrics, I didn't like the direction it was going. So I remember I kind of got up to do that. And then you see that I'm using the clapper on the side. And then, okay, when I went to the little room in the back, that is where I starch. So I had a fabric drying in there that I needed to get. And so, yeah, I'm just kind of chain piecing all my little units so that I can put my block together. Gosh, it would be so amazing if I could sew that fast in real life. And when I do the hourglass blocks, I just cut I take my finished size of the unit and add 1.5, and that's what I cut, and then I'll trim my unit down. So that's kind of how I came up with the math on that one. And it looks like on that one I'm pressing open so that I don't have to worry about the direction it goes. And then I'm using that brand new fig tree mat that's it'll just rotate. And so I just trim it all down, and then I'll probably put my block together. So there I'm probably changing, probably one of my podcasts ended, so I probably had to change to something different to watch. And so I think that this actually was for the live stream that was the Friday after, so I was kind of last minute on doing it. And these are the 12-inch blocks. Oh, and then at the end, okay, so at the end, that's me with my canned air. So at the end, I always clean my table off with the canned air. And then this is Saturday morning. This is about 6 a.m. So I got up, my kid, everyone is still asleep. I didn't even brush my hair. But this is me working on one of the pillows for the Scrapbook of Quilts pillow along. And then I ended up making that one into a table runner. And all I needed to do was take the starch fabric and add it to the border. So I did that, and then now it looks like I have moved on to something else. Let me try to figure out what it is. It is definitely a Lori Holt block, because I have on my book stand the little Lori Holt book. And so when it's sitting up, I just follow the cutting that way. And then it looks like I'm using my friction pen to, and I'm kind of, with those red scraps, I kind of just cut off the edge of it. And then you can see when I keep going in and out on this one, it's, okay, right there, I ran out of fabric. So I starched some fabric, and that is me trying to get it to dry. So what I've been doing lately is ironing and then letting the little clappers sit on it for a little bit, and then ironing it, letting it dry that way. But yeah, that's me just having to starch stuff to keep going. And I've got a design board off to the side, and I think as I cut, I kind of move it to my design board. And so that's me drying all that fabric to the left. That's me trying to get it to dry. And some of those clappers, a couple of them I was given as gifts, so now I have plenty. And I remember right there, I almost ran out of fabric. That little background fabric, almost ran out of it. So yeah, and let's see what I'm doing. Oh, and then there I'm using that seam-align glue to put corner squares on, I think, on that basket block. So you can see I just kind of, gosh, I move around a lot. Can you imagine if you like actually moved that fast? So I'm drawing lines on the back of the squares. At some point here, I know my machine runs out of thread and I get really mad. So yeah, one of the things I'm having to do here is, you know, get my fabric to dry. So yeah, that's me taking it and then just starching it in the other room and then trying to get part of it to dry in this room. And then that is where I line up all my corner squares all at one time, glue them down, and then move them to my board. And I think on this one, I might be doing 2 blocks at one time. But that's me trying to get everything starched, and it might be where I, you know, put stuff out and then let it dry and come back to it later. One thing that's really good to do is at night, kind of get everything ready and think through what you're going to do the next day so that you can starch. Now there, I know I'm doing strip sets because that's how I do my strip sets. So yeah, I'm drawing my little corner squares. But yeah, you can see, I guess I really do take the corner of every square out, don't I? And you'll see that I kind of just iron the little corner. I don't iron the whole thing. But yeah, me going in and out of that bathroom means that I have run out of starched fabric. And so that's me just like really having to dry it. And yeah, so the red sampler, it's been a lot of fun. It's just that I'm kind of out of the red fabrics. Just like everybody else, same thing. So yeah, that's me drawing all my lines, putting all of the corner squares on there, using that glue. And then by the time I sew everything down, that glue has dried. So it saves me time. I don't even know what block I'm doing here. I know I'm doing one of the red samplers. I think here I'm doing 2 blocks at once, maybe, or 3 blocks at once. And so you can see I've got all my little design boards all stacked up. So That's me doing a couple of blocks all at once. And so you can see I'm going to chain sew all those corner squares, clip them apart. I'm doing the next block. So I've cut, it looks like 3 or 4 blocks here. I did this, can't remember what I did yesterday, much less 2 days ago. So yeah, it's just me just chain sewing. That's how I get so much stuff done. So by now it's probably like 7:30. People are still asleep. I don't even know who's awake in this video because, oh, and then what I do is I print out from Lori's blog, her blog, and then just leave that on the design board to kind of follow. And then I've moved my books off of my little book holder and moved it to the table so that I can just follow the book if I need to. And so there I'm adding more corner squares. So I try to iron all 3 blocks at one time, you know, kind of put it all together. And then just chain sew. And then let's see, there I'm doing the last corner squares, I think. Oh, and it looks like I've taken a shower. Okay, so now I'm not in my pajamas. Looks like, okay, I've taken a shower. Okay, my in-laws are about to show up. So I did take a shower, and then I'm just waiting for them to come. And I basically am trying to get as much done before they come. They're gonna come around lunchtime. So that's me just, yeah, it's good. At least I took a shower. I usually do start sewing before I take a shower or anything, just to kind of get going. And then also it's good because if I need something starched when I'm taking a shower, it can kind of dry. And that's me. I'm now watching something, so I'm probably watching Netflix or YouTube or something, because it's before I must have been listening to a podcast, but now I've got it where I can watch it. And I've taken my headphones off because when my in-laws come, I want to be able to hear when they show up. And so yeah, I'm just doing all the blocks all at one time. And let's see, just building that basket. I know at some point coming up I do run out of thread at some point here. Okay, that's where I'm doing the little, using my friction pen to kind of mark to get everything to line up so I don't have to pull anything apart. And see, I just go from design board to design board. I'd love for you guys to comment to see if there's anything in this video that you guys do at home or any tips you have for me so that I could go faster, because, you know, I like to go fast. Oh, and then on the TV now, I remember I was watching Snapped. And so anytime Snapped is on, I watch it, even if I have already seen it. I think they're on like their 500th episode. So when that's on, I do. So I'll kind of go from podcast to YouTube to TV to whatever. And you can see that little camera in the corner. That's the other camera that's filming me at the iron. And so the beauty of this is when you get done, like you cut all your blocks at one time, you sew them all at one time, and then when you're done, you've got all 3 done. So that probably, I guess that probably took me about 2 hours to do 3 blocks, maybe a little less. And so some blocks, you know, go faster than others. And then you can see at the end, I trim, you know, the edge of my blocks. And then when I'm putting stuff down over there by the TV, I keep a little, over there is a shopping, like a laundry basket. And anything that's gonna go to work, I throw in there. And so now I am moving to sampler blocks. And so I've got to, let's see, those red things I'm doing, I'm starching, and then I'm kind of looking over what I need to do, and I'm probably starching for future red blocks, but I don't have enough starch, so I've got to kind of move it. And then that's me, that's a bolt that I cut off of. And there I think I'm doing 1 single block, and then I think I run out of time. And here is where I think I run out of thread. Oh, you know what I'm doing here? I'm doing the back. I'm piecing a label for the back of my Riley Blake Designs quilt. And I let that label kind of sit under the clappers for a little bit. But yeah, I'm putting together a label. So I just go from project to project, and a lot of that stuff that I'm doing and going in the other room is like cutting it down and then letting it starch and coming back to it. So yeah, I got a lot of red going on, don't I? And then, oh, that little drawer, that's probably me doing, I think here I'm probably doing the Eleanor Burns Flying Geese, yeah. Because anytime I get in that drawer, that's what I'm doing. So here, I guess I am still working on the red sampler blocks. I guess I had to wait on some starched fabric. That little green bowl is where I keep my little, anything that needs to be trimmed down goes in there. So yeah, I'm doing a couple of blocks here. And the funny thing watching this video is that my kids are not in the room, and they're usually in the room, but I don't think they were awake at this point. But I had a little sign on my door that said filming, and none of them wanted to be on camera. So they were like, let me stay out of there. So I think that's kind of funny. If I ever want them to stay out, all I have to do is put that on there. If I'm on like a conference call or something, I can just say, because they don't ever listen if I say I'm on a phone call. They still come in because they just think I'm talking to their dad. So here I'm pinning. Yeah, so that looks like I did 3 blocks and then needed to wait for some stuff to starch, or to dry, the starch to dry. And there I am trimming that block. And then I just put it on the ground like always. Oh, and then there's Peyton. Okay, so Peyton changed out my batteries for me. And then there's Piggy. So you'll see he has a little diaper on, because if I don't put a diaper on him, he will try to go to the bathroom. So that is me working on one of the table runners, and I take it over to my table on the side to make sure it kind of fits. And then I run out of fabric. I actually ran out of one of the fabrics. So that's me doing the label, but I ran out of one of the borders and had to go back and do it later. But that's me sewing together a little label that I put on the back of the thing. So I just go from project to project and just, you know, whatever's on my list. And I use that Aurifil Color 2000 so that I don't have to, you know, switch out. There I'm gluing down my label so I can just sew it down. Sometimes I'll piece it, but I didn't have a lot of time, so on this one I just kind of sewed it down. And then I fold it up, put it in the corner, and that means I'm taking it to work. And so now I've gone on to a whole different project. I'm doing a little table runner. That's actually a pillow that I think I turned it into a table runner instead of a pillow. And so that's me. I had starched everything that morning, so that's me. And actually that's me on another pillow trying to cut that down. So I'm basically cutting 2 table runners at one time. And those little design boards that you see kind of at the edge, that's where they are. And then Piggy's just sitting there chilling. That's what he does. He's a pug. He's pretty lazy. So sometimes he'll get off the couch, but he knows that's his little bed. So he usually stays up there. I think on this one I might have ran out of fabric too. So yeah, I'm just I remember just cutting all of this before they came. So this is all one morning. I still don't think my kids are awake except Peyton, because he came in. But usually one of them will sit there with Piggy. They usually sit there with Piggy. They just didn't want to be on camera. And then here I'm moving on to, okay, here I am moving on to the sampler spree, and I've got a different tea. And all those drinks, that's all tea. Who knows what I'm watching on Sunday morning? Maybe Oprah. And this day my in-laws were there, but I think they went next door. They're building a house next door. My in-laws went next door to check out that house. So that was when they left. They wanted to go explore that house. And see, there's just Piggy. He just lays in his, he likes that little gray bed, so I usually put that on his little bed. He likes to be comfortable. He's a little bit spoiled, I would say. And so this one, I remember I only had one time to do one of the blocks, and so I just kind of build the block as I go and just go from project to project. At some point, you'll probably see my little Remarkable tablet come out, and that is what keeps the list of what I need to do for that week or day or whatever. I keep lists and just kind of erase them off as I go. And I really wanted to be able to do the rest of these 10 blocks, but I just, with my in-laws there, I didn't have time. But I'm definitely watching some kind of TV. And Piggy's just chilling. And there's my headphones. My headphones are charging. That's where my headphones sit to charge. So that's 4 different days, I guess. And I've worked on like, I don't know, 4 or 5 projects. And there I am getting triangle paper, going to starch fabric. Yep. Yep, that's me trying to figure out kind of what I have, what I need to starch. Oh, that's me. So now I've moved to Stitchy Stars, and that little basket has all of my starched fabrics for Stitchy Stars. Oh no, that's got all my starched fabrics for Sampler Spree, but I'm using the leftovers on that for Stitchy Stars. So I'm kind of getting all that done so that the next day I can do my video, and you'll see I just kind of all put it in a little box. But that's me just like planning, figure out what I have that's already starched. And if I don't have it starched, I just take it in the other room, starch it, and I'll come back and get it later at nighttime. Yep, see, I go in there to starch. And so I just put it in a little bucket, and I take the little bucket to work. So I just go from project to project to project to project. I don't really stop. I kind of just go. I really wish I could go that fast. I mean, gosh, you know, sometimes people ask you in life, what is your superpower? That would be my superpower, to do what I'm doing right there. And that little tablet I was working on, that was my Remarkable tablet. And that is my little tablet that I keep. It's kind of like, it's just like you keep notes on it. And so I was just checking off there what I hadn't done, what I need to do, and then I probably remembered, oh, I need to do this. So I've got out my Scrapbook of Quilts book, and I'm trying to plan my little orange table runner that I'm gonna do, or pillow. I can't remember what it turns into. That one I actually haven't sewn. I've just cut all the pieces. And I just leave them on anything uncut. I just leave kind of by the other sewing machine, and when I get to it, I get to it. And that one I'm working off of a layer cake that's pretty old, and that I've had a long time, and I'm just planning out, you know, what colors am I going to use, going through. I've got a little stash of orange over there that I'm kind of going through. And then there I ran out of the orange or the gray, so I had to buy some. So just put it in my cart and then check out later. And you can see I'm putting everything on that little design board to the right, and that's just so that when I go back to it, it's all done, it's ready to go. I love to cut. So yeah, that I'm just prepping for the next 2 table runners. And I haven't gone to Starbucks yet at all, so I don't see a Starbucks coat in this. So that means I was real busy, because if I had a little bit of free time, I would have already been at Starbucks. And so kind of on the right is where I'll keep kind of all the fabrics I'm working on in case I need to get back to them. And I just leave on my table what I am really cutting. This is so funny to watch myself. I wish I could be a stand-up comedian, because then I could tell jokes. I don't have any jokes. Let's see. Yeah, then I moved to the house. So I've gone from Halloween to the house for the Scrapbook of Quilts. And when I have a to-do list, which is what I was looking at earlier, I probably just went in order of what was starched. I only have so much room, so I'll starch and then kind of cut that, and then while I'm sewing that, I'll cut the next project. Okay, so now Piggy's left the room apparently. So he probably got antsy and wanted to leave. He actually likes to sunbathe, which is kind of weird for a pug. He literally goes, he has a little chair, he goes, I'm not kidding, he sunbathes. He goes and sits in the sun. And they say, yeah, I don't know, it's crazy. He just sits out there and chills. I have 2 little roadrunners that live in my backyard, and I don't know what the deal is, but he needs to run them off. He doesn't. He just sits out there, and the little roadrunners go by, and they're just like, he's fine with it. I think it's weird. Yep, so that is one weekend. So that's probably about 5 hours of stitching, and that's how I get so much done. See you next time.